And we will call this meeting back to order. Jackie, roll call.
Kristen Bailey.
Kristen, she said your name. Here.
Here. Atwood. Here. Steve Byers. Jose Jaquez. Here. Christopher Boyce.
Here.
Mark Charvat.
Here.
Vante Bynum. Maria Bello Rodriguez.
And now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We'll now move into public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board should complete a request card prior to the start of the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for public from the comment. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Jackie, you said we do not have any public comment?
Nope.
All right, then we'll move into board correspondence. 2 things from me real quick. First one is, if you guys didn't have a chance to go out on Friday, we, the Barbs, had a resounding victory over Sycamore again, so it's great to have the trophy back in our hands. Less exciting thing, our March 17th board meeting has been moved to March 18th because in the state of Illinois, you cannot have a public meeting on an election day. So 1, remember to go out and vote. 2, just know you need to show up on Wednesday, not Tuesday, or else no one will be here. That is everything from me. Does anyone, Mark?
Real quick, some constituents have asked me about the sign out in front of the administration center. Just letting you know that was approved by the last board, so I'll
And paid for by a grant. Anyone else? Hearing no other comment, we will move into the consent agenda. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items 5B through 5E. Board minutes from January 13th, 2026, purchase order requisitions, personnel action items, and Sunbelt Staffing Service Agreement for a registered nurse as presented and or amended. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Jackie, roll call.
Nick Atwood.
Yes.
Jose Jaquez.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Mark Charvat.
Yes.
Vante Bynum.
Yes.
Kristen Bailey. Yes.
All right. Moving into presentations, we've got presentation Vision 428 Business, and that will be presented by Billy and whoever else is coming up with Billy.
So Kyle just had a birthday, and I think he thought we were all here to celebrate his birthday. And we're doing a little bit of that too.
You hit the big 4-0. I love how they came in black and orange. Very well coordinated.
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So we are going to give you an update of where we are with Vision 428. If you all remember back in October, November, we did a Vision 428 presentation to the board, to the community that was here present. We had a couple of community members who expressed, is that the only idea or can we have other ideas? So we got a Vision 428 committee together. We met in December and a couple times in January. And I don't want to give everything away, but we looked at a couple of things, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you everything. Let me tell you really what Vision 428 is, because then they're going to be like, why did I even come? So really, we looked at a long-term plan out of FFC. When we were talking Early Learning Development Center and the construction of Early Learning Development Center. We didn't think it was coming that quick. It did. Thank you to the board for committing to that. So we're already doing some great work and starting to plan that out. And with that, we know that we need to have renovation over at Hunley Middle School. So in that renovation, does it make sense to renovate it and keep it a 6, 7, 8, or does something else make sense? So this is what we are going to cover today.
So just kind of to add on a little bit to what Billy had talked about, our first checklist point here was that creation of the new ELDC. So again, thank you to the board for approving that one. And then everything kind of falls in line with pulling the ELDC out of Huntley. So we would have extra classrooms there that we would need to renovate. If we are going to renovate them, then let's make that back into that 7-8 building. And then let's look at restoring Founders back to that middle school center, because it is not appropriate for a K-5 building. And then looking at that of how can we then make sure that Clinton Rosette is back to that 5-6 building and appropriate size. And then also returning then to that K-4 model across the elementary schools. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. And so what that would look like, this is just a visual to kind of see. So we would start with that early learning developmental center. That will be our younger students, and then moving into our K-4 buildings. So we would go from 9 elementary school buildings to 8 K-4 buildings. And then we would have 2 buildings at the 5-6 level, being Clinton Rosette and Founders. Huntley then would be our 7-8 building, and then Clinton Rosette and Founders would be roughly the same size to then fill in to Huntley, and then going into DHS, and then again into that Beyond One BART Center.
Can I ask a question really quick? For each of you that come up and speak, would you mind just saying your name and your role, like your position, relationship to the district?
Sure. My name is Laura Young. I am the principal at Little John Elementary.
Well, good evening. My name is Amanda McCarthy, and I'm here tonight as a parent who volunteered to serve on Vision for the 428 committee. I've got 2 students in the district, and this is my first time presenting to the board, so please pardon my nerves tonight here. So how did I get involved? I got involved because I was watching a school board meeting towards the end of 2025 where this was being discussed, and the superintendent said, if there's anyone out there that wants to be part of the committee, just email Billy. And so that's what I did. And then I'll let Catherine introduce herself.
Yes, hello, I'm Catherine McLaughlin. I work for the DeKalb County Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm a trustee for the DeKalb Township, and then I'm also part of the Founders PTO. I have a 2nd grader, a kindergartner, and a 2-year-old. And so same situation here as a community member and part of that Founders group that was a little apprehensive at the beginning.
Excellent. So we just want to share our observations of the process and really speak to kind of what happened. We thought that was important, that everybody knew kind of what happened and how things went. And so and I'm also following along on the slides here, so you've got that. But our committee brought together 58 people. It was staff, district leaders, board members, some community representatives, and what I found is starting from the first meeting, I found that the environment just of the group was very collaborative and transparent, and I'll give some examples as we go through here of that. We started by establishing norms, making sure everyone had a shared understanding of what the goals were, that the original concept, as Billy said, was one idea kind of under consideration, but that the committee would have the opportunity to generate more ideas for consideration. So all that was explained. There was Q&A at that first meeting, and everybody got to ask questions if they had them, which I thought was good. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, during this process, all the questions were answered, all opinions were appreciated and valued and put into place, and there was so much research done behind each plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just, between meetings as well, so like between the first and second meeting, we were invited to submit alternative ideas to the original vision or ideas that kind of complemented the vision. Everyone was invited to submit, even if you couldn't make the meeting originally. And I found that it was really straightforward and easy to submit an idea. So I think that was really good. And then at the second meeting on January 6th at the Founders Library, we reviewed all the ideas that had been submitted. I really appreciated that the leaders were really transparent about what ideas had been submitted. Like, they were straightforward and let us know. They didn't hide anything from us. They were also very professional. Like, when you show up to a meeting and there's packets of information and ideas with pros and cons and data. One member, I won't name them, but they did a deep dive into the grade reconfiguration just in general. Like, what's the research say? And we got a summary of that in the packet. At this meeting, we were encouraged to talk to each other get up, move around. I got to meet all sorts of cool educators, which was really, really good. So very collaborative. And then between the second and third meeting, we rated each idea. The survey was laid out really easy to access. And again, even people who weren't at the meeting could respond to that. And then at the January 14th meeting, we reviewed the survey results together, which was a really important step because we got to see as a committee patterns versus just kind of individual perspectives, which I thought was good. So if you want to add anything else, and then we'll hand it over to Dr. Nall.
No, again, I just want to commend them with all the research that they did and everything that was put into this. And they just did a fantastic job. So.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, so the next several slides are really just verbatim copied straight from the information that we went over in that third meeting. So first, we just reviewed all of the different plans, the ideas that had come forward, including maintain the current building configuration. So the purple plan, number 6, would be do nothing, keep things just as they are. The red plan is the plan that was originally presented to the board, the Vision 428. And then just for context, plan number 7 was brought forward at the second meeting, which meant we didn't have time to list the pros and cons for that particular plan, which you may want to reference that in your thinking when you look at the data, maybe you won't. And the reason it's rainbow colored is so that when you look at the next slides, it is somewhat easier to follow along with what you're looking at. So this chart details the preferred plan votes. So if we looked across the 30 submissions of committee members, what plan did they rate the highest on a scale of 0 to 10? So that original plan, the grade reconfiguration, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 26 of the members of the committee of the 30 that voted gave that the most points. So that was the number 1 plan for most people, which we thought was really significant. You'll see that these numbers add up to more than 30 because if anyone gave plans the same score, we gave them the benefit of the doubt and gave each of those plans a first place vote. As always, please feel free to stop and ask any questions you have as they come up. This is the average rating for the proposed plans. 0 was described as this will not fit our district in any way, and 10 is this is the very best thing I can imagine happening in our district, essentially. So you can see that our original Vision 428 plan had a score of 8.3, which was significantly higher than any of the other plans. The one on the far right did score 4.8, but it is not a viable plan without spending a lot of money and reconfiguring and adding on to a number of our buildings and or doing things that are not palatable to the community. So we didn't have a chance to explain in greater detail all of the cons of that plan because it came forward relatively last minute, but we still wanted a chance for the committee to vote on that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so also, just to note that the 4.8 is actually far closer to 3.7 and 2.6 than it is all the way up to 8.3. So 4.8 is still below the halfway point. So it is rated as worse than medium.
Can you, Jessica, just go up that one slide to 7, back to 7, and highlight number
This one right here?
5? Or maintaining the current building configuration on slide 7.
So that's the 6th one over
Right
here.
here. So sure, I think, Billy, what you're referencing is the fact that given the option to do exactly what we're doing now, only one person thought that that was the best idea, which we were very encouraged by. It is difficult to get people to agree to change. Change is hard, and agreeing to do something different than what you're immediately familiar with is challenging. So the fact that this very disparate group of people all said, we know we can do better than this, we thought was very encouraging and gave us a lot of optimism that whatever challenges we encounter, making the plan a reality, we know that we will have the momentum of people who recognize that there is a better future that lies beyond the changes that we're going to make. So we found that really encouraging. Did I get that? Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Null,
I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm old, so I was writing down my question before I forgot
sure.
it, and I missed what you were talking about with number 7. It's grade 7.
Okay, you got it. So if you look back up here, number 6, the option number 6 was to just keep things as they are. So essentially renovate Huntley, but keep 6, 7, 8 in 2 buildings, leave the elementary schools alone. And if you look at the preferred plan votes, only one person thought that the best possible option was to leave things exactly as they are.
What's the difference between 7 and 1?
7 and 1? Okay, so the dark purple that says 5?
Yeah.
The dark purple that says 5 is reconfiguring with 4, I'm gonna get the number, 5 K3 buildings, 4, 5, 6 buildings, and then a 7, 8 building in the high school. And the reason that is, do you want me to go into the reason why that, okay.
It's my
Thank you.
All right, we'll keep that to myself. So there's your data, and since it's words and not numbers, I'm gonna turn it back over to somebody else.
Aspen and I are gonna bookend you here, I think. So again, just to reiterate, so after all of that, what I would call due diligence, all that work, some might call it, 95% of the committee agreed that continuing the development of the original Vision 428 idea is the most student-centered for the district. And the committee really saw this as an option with the most potential, the strongest viability, while still, which I think this is important, while still recognizing that further planning and exploration are needed. I think that's an important point. So overall, again, very limited support for what is the current configuration. So there was a lot of openness to change.
Yes, and so we were even supposed to have one more meeting, and at that January 14th meeting then, everyone in the group decided to go ahead and vote then to move forward with this plan.
Yeah, so I think the slide does a really nice job of explaining kind of what this means for next steps, but I'm gonna reiterate it just because I think it's really important that the public hears it and that we're kind of all on the same page. So what this means for next step is if the board does not approve the continued development of Vision 428, then the architect would work on designs for Huntley Middle School as a 6, 7, and 8, which is what it currently is, right? If the board does approve the continued development of the Vision 428, the architect would work on designs for Huntley Middle School as a 7, 8, which would be new. And then further planning from the subcommittee would commence. So with the ELDC move, as already been talked about tonight, renovations are needed no matter what. So starting the design work now really keeps things moving, avoids unnecessary disruptions, which is important. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
I just have one question really quick. You mentioned this, Catherine, a bit of skepticism at the beginning, and I was just wondering if you both, since you're both parents and community members, if you wouldn't mind like telling us kind of where you started and where you ended up with all of this.
Sure. So going into it, being part of the Founders PTO, we were scared. The teachers were scared. I remember walking into the office with the first day and teachers were approaching me and staff was approaching me being like, did you know about this? What is going on? And so I don't know if just at first it was just scary and I don't know like how it was presented to them. And then obviously you were here for the first initial, for that board meeting where everyone came in. And I think there was just a lack of understanding because I was the same way. And then once I understood and once I actually was able to dive into this information and see that we're cutting down the classroom size for the middle schoolers because again, like everyone that was scared too, like the parents that were scared, we're speaking on their kids that are in Founders Elementary School and we're thinking of like losing our school, we're thinking of losing our staff and all the work too that we've put in to grow this PTO and it was nerve-wracking and we didn't want to see it go, but then learning that yes, this is better for our students in the long run because we're cutting down on that classroom size, we are keeping the K through 4 together and then putting the minds of 5th and 6th graders together as opposed to the 5th graders and kindergartners, and then also being a Founders parent, just hearing about the building more from our staff and how it's not conducive to being a elementary school and about how my first grader has to go so far to go to the bathroom and it's wild because there's so many accidents in this one first grade classroom because they cannot make it to the bathroom. So with that and learning and hearing about all this research, I full support.
Yeah, and I was similar. I think my big question at the beginning was, is this necessary? Like, why not just build the new ELDC and land the plane there and move on, right? But after spending several hours with professional educators and looking at the information, I was reassured by this constant theme that I heard in our conversations was, well, what we're doing now is not best for kids. It's not best. We can do better. And that's reassuring as a parent. And for me to think about my third grader, you know, and going to a building with 5, 6, that's reassuring as a parent. And I think also just to kind of address this idea that as I was talking to parents, I, in general, heard a lot of support for the reconfiguration. Some parents were, you know, mentioning that, well, we just went through the redrawing the boundaries last year, and do we really need to do that again? But, you know, I think the benefits outweigh the short-term discomfort that might come from change, and so that's my experience.
So when we met as a committee, we kind of had this group of objectives that really hit on every single grade level and had the view and the voice of all the way from the preschool through that high school. And so these were really our objectives when we started to look at all of those different options, which of those options would really hit these objectives. So our number one really was to reduce the class sizes at that secondary level. Having 35 students in a middle school classroom just is not best for our students. You were able to help us as a board to open Mitchell to reduce our elementary class sizes down to 25. And that's our next step then is to let's move that up to our secondary level. So that was the first one. The next one is to have those equitable access to programs across our middle schools. Right now, we have one middle school of 1,000 students and one of 500. And so how can we try to balance that out to make it more equitable? And by doing the 5-6 buildings, having 2 5-6 buildings that are similar in size, moving into a 7-8 building would just help us with that equitable access to things. And then we've kind of talked a little bit about the kindergartners being with the 5th graders, but 5th and 6th graders being together makes more sense than having kindergarten with 5th grade, just socially, emotionally, academically. The next thing would be talking about supports and specialized programs across the buildings. Right now, we have students that are going across the district every single day for a specialized program. If we were to make our elementary schools K-4 buildings, that would open up space to host specialized programs at different buildings. So it wouldn't be, we have one sole classroom here, we have one intensive here. We'd be able to spread those programs out so students would be closer, if not at their home school. The next one would be kind of going hand in hand with that is the elimination of the need for mobile classrooms. So right now we have mobiles across multiple elementary schools, Little John being one of them. By reducing down to a K-4, we would not need our mobile classroom anymore and everything would be housed in our building. The next thing then too is that idea of growth and what town is not looking for growth, that by moving to the K-4, the 5, 6, and then the 7, 8, at all grade levels, we would have room for growth. Right now, our 2 middle schools, Clinton Rosette is solidly sitting over 500 students. And so by making those grade level centers, we would be able to sit with room to grow. We'd have a little bit more space for all of those things. And then again, reconfiguring those would allow our populations to be closer to their home schools. So we'd be able to kind of rebalance everything so that we don't have as many classrooms that are much smaller than other ones that are much more overcrowded. And then again, like Catherine had said, with Founders being an elementary school, moving it back to a more appropriate middle school compared to being that K-5 building that's just not appropriate for those students.
Right.
Brandon Boyer, principal at Clinton Rosette Middle School. partly sorry that I'm coming back to you a third time in this fiscal year to talk about middle school class sizes. But I say we are extremely passionate, we are extremely passionate about what can happen at the middle school level. We've seen what happened at the elementary level with opening Mitchell. Now we have this chance to do this. Many of my colleagues here have talked, about these concepts, and so have I. So talking about we're gonna repurpose those 10 classrooms, right, at Huntley anyway, which will approximately be able to allow us to add 100 students there. Then also for Clinton Rosette, taking down between approximately 80 to 100 students would bring us down, so we are not sitting at 32 to 35 kids at Clinton Rosette in each of our classrooms, okay? So to get us down to that threshold, I don't wanna jump down to the bottom MOU, it's kind of memorized from all this timing, but talking about the MOU from 2019 that we have, that we want to lower our middle school class sizes from 35 down to 30. Doing this will take them down to that, at Clinton Rosette, right around that 28 to 30, but that's what we're looking for in that. Same thing there. Founder student count would approximately be the same as they are today, around that 500. And then we know reducing class size in middle schools will lead to improved academic outcomes. It does fulfill that MOU that I just talked about, that is attached to the DCDA contract, to get the middle schools from 35 down to 30. And then we can see it. I've been through a couple elementaries now. It is amazing to me to see a classroom of kids learning when there are literally 16 to 24 or 5 kids in these classrooms. To where you walk in, stop by Clinton Rosette anytime you want. I'll take you in a class of 34, 35 sitting in a math class, and we can see how that, when our focus is on, student engagement, student conversation, and the rigor to what they get in our instructional practices, to bring that down to that 26 to 30, that's what I'd like to say, at least 30 or less, would be just an amazing thing. Thank you.
So I guess one quick question with reconfiguration. Obviously, we're not changing the number of students in the district, but by reconfiguring the buildings, and this might be more of a Sarah and Billy question, what does that mean for some of our teachers that are gonna shift buildings where, hey, I've always been an elementary school teacher, but I don't know how certification for primary versus secondary works in that role. Like, are they gonna be eligible to still teach at both of those levels? Is that something that, oh no, I don't have the certifications to move buildings, or how will that work?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think that's one of the biggest worries probably of our teachers as we're talking about this and gonna ask to continue to explore it. That's what one of our subcommittees is gonna focus on, working with probably Deetra leading that. And it's really gonna depend on, do we have a 5th, 6th grade, like middle school model where maybe, because all our K through 5 teachers can obviously teach K through 5, right? So do we still keep like a kind of 5th grade model where maybe you and I are kind of like co-teachers, and I teach the math science, you teach the language arts and the social studies, and we flip, because we do that now in elementary, at some of our elementaries, and that's fine. So then you wouldn't need any recertification. But if we did it like kind of where we do our 7, 8 buildings, or 6, 7, 8 right now, then we would have to look at that. But that's all something that we have to explore with these subcommittees.
Thank you.
Yep.
I apologize for not introducing myself earlier, but I don't think I need to do that.
Maybe for the public.
Sorry. I'm sorry?
Maybe for the public.
Sure, I am Jessica Nall, and I am the coordinator of assessments. And this is the information that relates to the census in our buildings if we went with this reconfiguration for our 5, 6, and 7, 8 buildings. So Huntley, as you can see, I'm starting on the right, which is unusual for me. Huntley would go up. These numbers reflect what would happen if we waved a magic wand and put the students that we have in these grades today in these buildings tomorrow. So this does not reflect the number of students that will be in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in the fall of 2028. Does that make sense? Okay, so if we were to wave a magic wand and move all of our 7th and 8th graders in the district to Huntley, we would have 938 students at Huntley. That is an increase, but keep in mind, we would have 10 additional classrooms. So if you look at adding roughly 86 students across 10 classrooms, you can see where we wouldn't be in an overcrowding situation, given the additional space with that additional number of students. At Founders, we would have almost exactly the same number of students. Founders is not currently experiencing overcrowding. The concerns we have with Founders as a building aren't that there isn't enough space there. And Clinton Rosette would reduce the number of students by 75, which is a much more manageable number for that building. Any questions about this slide? Excellent.
I just have one, sorry, really quickly.
Yeah.
Why do this now instead of like projecting who's gonna be in those buildings?
Well, that's a good question. We take our cues from our mirror and we like to present the most conservative estimates possible because we would never want to overpromise and underdeliver. These classes are larger than the classes that are currently in kindergarten and first grade, and our first graders would be the first group of students to spend fifth grade in this reconfiguration. I don't want to base our estimates on those numbers because we seem to pick up additional students as we go. And I don't know that we have any evidence that that would change in the future. So it seems like the best possible estimate would be to use the numbers of kids we have right now. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I am Alyssa Campbell, also first-time board presenter and attender. I have spent the last decade teaching at Clinton Rosette Middle School math and just recently switched to Mitchell Elementary as their math interventionist. I also have a third grader and a second grader at Lincoln Elementary, so I'm also a parent. I'm very passionate about this design because as a sixth grade teacher and now as a fifth grade math interventionist, I see that fifth and sixth grade math, that's my specialty, is like part 1 and part 2. The things that they learn in math in fifth grade just get reinforced and reestablished and taken that next step higher in sixth grade. And there's a real disadvantage for sixth grade teachers to have one day where we collaborate with fifth grade teachers in May at the end of the year when we're all exhausted. So having fifth and sixth grade teachers share a building and being able to collaborate daily would not only benefit their teaching, but students in fifth grade who are ready for the challenge would have the expertise of sixth grade teachers. And students in sixth grade who maybe are struggling a little bit with what they didn't quite master in fifth grade would have that ability for maybe some switching or some just differentiation that's more at their level. It would also just be better for 7th and 8th graders to be in their own building for that same exact reason. Trying to collaborate across town is just difficult when you're doing it virtually or even when you're in person at the end of a day of teaching. So having people that teach your same grade level in the same building, going to staff meetings together and PLCs together is just a much more collaborative environment. And when you put the teachers together, then that only benefits the students and what they're learning. And then again, same thing, students that needed that advancement would have that expertise, and then students that need a little bit more remediation could maybe get that a little bit better. Lastly, just the unification of being one barb sooner. Students would spend half of their education as a barb. So from 7th grade through 12th grade, they would be unified, they would come together, they would have school spirit, and that would take them all the way through to graduation. Thank you.
My name is Tammy Carson. I'm the Director of Facility and Safety Operations for the district. I'm just going to touch on the space issues that we have in the district. We did a great job with opening Mitchell that we were able to free up some space throughout the elementary level, but now we need to focus on that middle school level. And like it's already been addressed by my amazing colleagues, this is just something that we need to move forward with and look at across the entire district, the K through 8th grade. If we are able to do that, the 5th grade classrooms that are in those 8 elementary schools will have at least 2 classrooms freed up to be able to redistribute students across the K4s. And it will also, with the proposal of eliminate our mobiles. Mobiles are something that are a thorn in my side ever since the first one has come onto the district. And to be able to eliminate all of our mobiles, the presentation that we're putting forth, which does include an addition at Lincoln, would eliminate the use of all of our mobiles across the district. So that, to me, is a huge step in what we are looking at to do. Questions?
It's a bar graph, so that means I get to talk again. This is, we've had a lot of questions about whether our elementary students will still fit if we go with this reconfiguration. So this is our current distribution of elementary students with their census in each building as a percentage of the capacity. Not the capacity based on square footage, but based on a cap of 25 students per classroom. So you can see that we are currently at 81% across the district in terms of how full our elementary buildings are, but that there is a great deal of variance between buildings. We don't have the future-looking slide for this one because we haven't determined where specialized programs will be or where our dual language program would land. So again, in an attempt to not present information that we know isn't necessarily 100% accurate, or a very close approximation, I don't have that slide. So instead what I have is the next two slides, which are the current distribution of elementary students, which is just the census as a percentage of the grade level capacity. So right now we have 24 sections of each K-5 grade. So there are 24 kindergartens in DeKalb, and there are 24 first grades, all the way up through 5th grade. And this is how full they are if you take the number of students we have and you multiply 24 by 25. 78% of the kindergarten seats are accounted for. This includes our dual language students. It also includes our students who participate in special education services in a self-contained classroom. So again, it's the most conservative estimate. So some of those 78, well, not in kindergarten so much, but some of those 87% of third graders aren't in a gen ed classroom most of the day, but we've included them in the number because they are assigned to a seat, and also to make sure that should that placement change, they have a place to go. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. If we shifted in the way that Vision 428 originally laid out, we would have 22 sections of each grade K4, 22 kindergartens, 22 first grades. We would be 88% full, so we would still have 12% room for growth. And again, this isn't distributed by building because we don't know exactly where those programs would land. So we didn't want to go down that road and predetermine anything until that subcommittee has a chance to meet. These are today's grades. So today's third grade would be 95% full. And today's first grade would be 82% full for 88% across the district. You might ask yourself, what happens if we have 12% growth? Then where are we? So I took a look at the population over the last 7 years. We are very consistent. In 2025, right now, we have 6,584 students, which is 14 students less than we had in 2018. So that's a decrease in 0.2% overall. The chance that we go up 12% without time to prepare for that and make the adjustments necessary to fit all of our kids is very, very unlikely. I don't like to say anything is non-zero, but we will fit.
So the third graders on your chart are going to be in what grade?
Blue or green, the blue one.
Blue.
So if we reconfigured, they would be in 6th grade. So they won't be in the elementary building.
Right. Okay, thank you.
But again, we know that people will be moving to town. I think Dr. Shaw.
Good evening, Dr. Shavita Shaw, principal at Huntley Middle School. Coming up to just say we have the opportunity to do something amazing for all of our students in District 428, providing them with a tailor-fit school for their developmental needs. We do understand that 5th grade and kindergartners not appropriate for their developmental needs, as well as if you've ever been at the middle school when 6th graders come into middle school, it is a lot going on. So the 6th graders and 8th graders do not mix. So we have the opportunity right now to make sure that we are creating great schools that are tailor fit for all of our students in D428.
All right, good evening. Kyle Gertis, Director of Student and Family Services and a parent of a kindergartner, an incoming kindergarten next year, and then another one coming after that. So we got a few coming up through the pipeline, which is why this is really exciting. So I just really want to touch on specialized programs, and I know Ms. Young talked about it earlier and a few others. What this is going to give us the opportunity to do is to look at our special education programs across our elementary schools and to provide more equity on where some of those specialized programs are housed. So it not only helps with equity of where our programs are, thus helping with accessibility to students in their homeschool. It helps with continuum of students that have to move between programs throughout their elementary career. Likelihood of them staying in their homeschool would be higher. What it also does is it brings a little more equity to our staff in buildings as well. So when we think about one specialized program, that comes with a teacher, a minimum of 4 assistants, and then additional support staff. So when you have a building, I'm just gonna say Founders Elementary School that has 5 sections of SOL currently, additional resources and support also head to those buildings. So one of the things that we think we can do through this shift is bring more equity to resources across schools, which will help students, staff, and our administrators. I know Dr. Null just shared our, just that look back over student enrollment. Although our enrollment has stayed relatively consistent, what we have seen an increase of our student needs, and this is percentages of students that qualify for an IEP or special education. There are many variables that go into this, one of which is our student needs are higher, so we've consistently seen more kids needing access to our ELDC, and then ultimately needing our programming in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. That has caused us to have to open up sections to accommodate that increase. We also have a reputation in this county that we provide services to students, and we have families that do relocate here, which is a wonderful thing, but it does bring challenges that we then have to solve when it comes to space. So although this percentage doesn't look like a big increase, when you think about the number of students and then the programming needs that they have, this is a pretty significant shift for us as a district over the last 5 to 6 years.
Kyle?
Yeah.
I'm the one who's asking all the questions, and I apologize, but that's just the way I am. You mentioned that, like, you have so many sections at Founders of SOL, and now we might be distributing them more throughout the district. If we're gonna have more sections, smaller sections in more schools, that's also increasing more staff, right?
Well, if we have to add sections, so like if we go like, we have to add another section of SOL, another section of intensive, that is more staff coming in. Just like we did with our boundary shifts this year, if a program was moving from, let's say, Jefferson to Mitchell, the staff that was assigned to that program had really moved with that if they so chose. So it wasn't that we were hiring new staff to replace, it was a shift. So our new staff would be new programs that we would add on.
Okay, so essentially the number of classrooms that would fulfill the need isn't really gonna change, we might just add bigger and better.
Self-contained
different and
programs,
better.
we would have more equity. What I didn't really touch on here is students that really get special education support in the general education classroom for the majority of their day. That's a little bit harder to predict in terms of like where students are at, where they go, but because they typically get assigned to their home school.
But we're not making more self-contained rooms per se, they might just be moving closer to their home.
The goal of this Vision 428 is to move to bring equity. While we look at that, we are gonna have to have conversation around additional sections year over year, given our previous few years.
Okay.
So it's both.
But not specifically because of Vision 428 are we increasing?
Correct, good clarification. It really is due to the number of students that are either enrolling in our district that have needs or are being found eligible as we go. Thanks.
Yep. Bill DeWitt, I'm Director of Teaching and Learning for Pre-K through 5th grade. So I'm gonna wrap it all up for everybody. So there are subcommittees, obviously we don't have the answers to everything yet because we don't wanna make any predetermined, not choices, but decisions. Without getting feedback from our staff and from people who we really think need to be around the table. So we have a comprehensive plan. We know that we are going to need to be making some decisions coming up soon. So we're gonna be getting these subcommittees together and scheduling these depending on the feeling tonight. So to see how the board's feeling about moving forward with this, we will start scheduling some meetings in hopes that at our next board meeting, you all for action say, yes, we give you all permission to continue to explore Vision 428. So for tonight, this is information, and for the next board meeting, we are asking for action. But we will, and I'm just being transparent and letting you know, because our schedules fill up, we will start scheduling those meetings. And if for some reason the board says, nope, absolutely not, you can't continue with it, then we will just cancel those meetings. But we need to get those scheduled sooner rather than later.
And of course, they put me at the end, which is okay. I am Rita Elliott, I'm the district communications manager. Obviously, reaching out to our community, you've heard some of the input that we've had here, that has to continue. It's critically important that folks understand what direction we're going and why. We have several options to do that, and these will evolve too as the project ebbs and flows and grows. So right off the bat, we have a shell of a website sitting, or a web page ready to go. That can be very robust, similar to how we developed our superintendent search page. We can continue to add timelines into that, committee structures into that. We can add and plan to add what does the funding structures look like for this, so that at any given time people can access that information accessible from the homepage of the site. You know, the subcommittee progress I think is important too, as it's reported out here. Those summaries can come in and then again be shared publicly on our site. And that's not to say that we expect everyone to just, you know, bookmark that page and love it forever and ever. But that is our home base, so that we have that information as a repository as we continue to grow and as we reach out. We will have to have community meetings, absolutely, for sure, and some of that will depend again on the subcommittee work. So as it's appropriate, as it's timely, we'll sit down with our community, invite them to come in, share a lot of what this group has already been researching so that they can understand too what that looks like, ask questions. And perhaps there's things that we don't know yet. I'm sure there is things that we don't know yet that we need to consider. So that kind of feedback will be very important as the subcommittees continue to develop that work. Transparency is key. So that will be our focus from a communication standpoint. It's evolving, it'll change with needs, but we will make sure that we have that structure in place, that we have a home base, folks can get what they need, and we can continue to grow that presence.
So how do we get from here to that end result? And why are we here 2.5 years ahead of schedule? There's a lot of dates on here. There's a lot of work that happens between April 26th, which is when we would like to start the design process, all the way till completion in August of 2028, which is along with when ELDC would be opening. We would propose this timeline if we can meet the approval at the next board meeting to start that design process in the regards of just putting numbers and ideas together so we can get some more hard budget numbers from the architect, and so that we can get the okay to move forward with the more intricate design involved with the design development and the schematic design. So again, there's a lot of different bid dates, and not just the ones that are sitting in front of you, because some projects will start as early as April of 2027. Some may not start until May of 2028. It just depends on the complexity of each of the projects. But the end goal is that we're ready to go in August of 2028 for all of these moves to happen.
That's what we have for you. What questions do you have after I thank the team for coming in and presenting, because you all did an amazing job. Thank you.
All right.
Come.
Yes, Mark.
When will, as far as a timeline goes, will we see numbers for, as far as construction, and also numbers for staffing and a staffing plan for this? Do we have an approximate timeline? Because I'd like to see all that at the same time, if at all possible.
Yeah, so really, we're gonna be sticking to Tammy's timeline here, and that design development the start design process, that April 26th, that really gives us about a month to be meeting with our subcommittees to figure out what design we wanna go with, and then cost those numbers out. Will we come with you with different options? Most likely, yes, because we might want to grain like everything, right? And the school board might say, well, we're just not ready for that yet. But with knowing that there's some flexibility within our plan, just like we did with Mitchell, and knowing that we left it built to be able to add a couple more sections if ever needed. So that's really we have to follow this timeline to be able to meet all those deadlines. So hoping that by April 26th, we can come to you with some numbers, and then see what the board thinks about that.
But the numbers also include staffing numbers as well, in addition to construction.
If we have new staffing?
Right, if we're gonna need new staffing.
Yeah, if we need new staffing, yes.
Okay.
I'm not foreseeing in this plan that we do, but I don't wanna speak.
No,
on
no, I
it
just,
yet.
if need be, so.
Sure.
All right. At this point, there's no seeking of anything from us, correct? You'll
So-
come back.
Asking for a consensus to come back for action to be able to continue to explore
Okay.
Vision 428, and hold those subcommittees and come back to be able to give you all some numbers on what we have.
Do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Just want to say thank you guys so much, truly from the board. We asked you guys to make it transparent. We asked you guys to bring us a full plan, and you guys truly have done a phenomenal job on meeting those expectations. So thank you. And for anyone who's never been to a board meeting before, if you've done your presentation, you can leave now. You don't have to stay for the rest. All right. Moving on to the next section will be an old business. First item is item A, 2026 D428 summer programming. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the 2026 summer programming. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, roll call.
Jose Jaquez,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce, Mark
Yes.
Charbonnet,
Yes.
Dante Bynum, Kristen Bailey,
Yes.
Nick Atwood.
Yes.
Next item is item B, which is the DCTA program course approval salary schedule. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the DCTA program course salary schedule as attached. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, roll call.
Jose Jaquez,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Mark Charbonnet,
Yes.
Dante Bynum,
Yes.
Kristen Bailey,
Yes.
Nick Atwood.
Yes.
Now moving into new business. The first item is item A, DHS Acapella Choir Trip Request. Is this presented by Dr. Donna Larson?
Good evening, everyone. I'll keep this short and sweet. So this is information, if we make it to the semifinals. It is held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So our a cappella group will be competing at Lockport High School. If they place first or second on March 7th, then they qualify. So we wanted to bring this to the board because it would be an overnight trip. So this is informational, more to come, but we wanted to get this on the agenda with hopefully that we qualify for that.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item will be item B, National Pyramid Model Conference. This is presented to us by the team from the LDC.
That's why.
Hi, this is Shannon Armstrong, principal of the ELDC. I have some members of our team here to present to you some information regarding a conference that we are looking at going to in April, 7th through the 10th. So, thank you so much. So I will have the team here to present and they'll introduce themselves as they come up. Technical difficulties.
Does she need to sign in?
This,
Let me just see if I guess I,
this might be
do I
one of
sign
the
in?
ones that don't work, so.
Does she need to sign in?
Me? Do you want me to sign in?
It doesn't sign it. Sebastian, what'd you sign it in on? I didn't sign it.
Whose document?
Sebastian, one job.
It makes me good to sign in.
Yes, okay, perfect.
Just use your add to for tonight.
So I have to actually enter. Okay. Okay, well, I think we can we just wing it? I think
Yeah.
the team is prepared. Okay. Perfect.
My name is Jen Young. I am one of the blended pre-K teachers at the ELDC. I've attended a lot of board meetings, but this is my first time presenting. So we are really hoping to go to the National Pyramid Model Convention in April this year. It is in Tampa, Florida. One of our biggest things that we are working on at the ELDC is supporting our social emotional needs of all students. We are doing a lot of work that's already above the level of what is presented locally. we are working so hard with our students on really creating that strong foundation of social emotional success and skills so that when they go to kindergarten and further on, that they're able to have those skills that they need for future school success. It's really hard because I feel like people don't often realize how much our little preschoolers go through. Like, it's a side push for a full-time social worker. But they experience things already at the age of 3, 4, and 5 of like, they're already dealing with parents who are incarcerated, exposure to domestic violence, physical, mental abuse, foster care, poverty, homelessness, trauma, like young parents who are already struggling themselves, and they are struggling, their parents are struggling. So we're doing a lot to really support that. And the pyramid model is kind of like an MTSS support system. We already have a lot of MTSS supports in place, but it really provides a universal support to all children to promote wellness, targeted services to those who need support, and intensive services to those who need them. So there's 3 levels of support. The universal support, it's kind of like, building a strong house, you have to have a strong foundation. And then the tier 1, so the tier 1 is universal supports for everyone, warm relationships, making those connections with children and families, consistent routines, clear expectations, teaching classroom expectations and rules for everyone. Tier 2 is those targeted social emotional supports for some children, teaching feeling words, emotional regulation, small group instruction, visual supports, role play, and then tier 3 is for the kids who really need it the most, like functional behavior assessments, individualized behavior plans, and ongoing collaboration with support services. So we've already had Ron Roybal come present to us as a whole, but so this will be an opportunity for us to really connect on a deeper level, to get more intensive training over a couple of days, so we can really support our students.
Sarah Mack, pre-K teacher, and just to kind of add on to what Jen said, it'll also help us collaborate with other professionals from around the world as well that work with children the same age and kind of bounce ideas off each other. Because yes, as a group we do that collectively with our colleagues, but it's nice to get more input and from others that are doing the same thing. And then I'm just going to touch on the fiscal impact. Registration is $640 per person, so total $3,840. Our flights total for all 6 around $2,300. Hotel around $6,000, and then the meals about close to $1,500. Parking, ground transportation is estimated at $630. But it's important to note this all comes from our grant. None of it is coming from any of you. We are not asking for anything from the district to support us in going on this professional development. It is all covered by our wonderful grant. So we are just asking for support and permission to go out of state to this
I hate to
professional
let
development.
a little water out of your glass half full. The subs for the 6.
Yes. I am currently working on that. As of right now, I have 4 subs lined up, and we'll continue to work on that over the next couple months. So,
But the grant won't cover the cost of the subs, right?
as of right now, no. But
What
that's something that we
percentage-
can look into.
What percentage of your staff would then be gone?
We would have 6 out of our 11 teachers going.
So almost half.
This is, however, this is something that, yes, we do have para support within our program too, that can help facilitate that as well. But this will be something that our team has been looking into doing for many years. And I feel like, I can't speak for them, just coming into this role, but this is something that I really wanted to work on for them per se, because this is something that we are looking forward to. Moving forward, when we look at that pyramid model, as we look into the new building, being able to really bring back the knowledge that they've learned at this conference and pass that on to as professional
And
development.
Illinois is a pyramid model state, so in the early childhood level, They are working to push that out to all,
Oh.
sorry. So Illinois is an early pyramid model state. So at the early childhood level, they are pushing to really get that pyramid model support across the state to support our earliest learners and then kind of build upon that as they get
This is
older.
the second week out of spring break, right? So we come back for spring break, they're in school for a week, and then this is the following
Yes.
week after that, okay?
Yes, April 7th through the 10th.
Where does it take place?
I'm sorry?
Where does it take place?
Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
I'm sorry you'd have to go there.
I know, I'm not attending, I will be back, I will be back, supporting the team that is in the building, they will bring me all of this information. However, being in early childhood my entire career, this is a fantastic conference for them to be able to attend, so.
Can you tell me the dates again? Just
April 7th through the 10th.
thank you.
Right after Easter.
Yes. Yes.
All right, do we have any further questions? Hearing no further questions, do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, on to the next agenda item. Item C, DHS Barbcast Overnight Travel, IHSC State Wrestling. This is info in action presented to us by Dr. Donna Larson and two of our students.
Yay, our wrestlers then.
Appreciate it. All right, good evening. I won't speak very much because then our students behind me will say, why did you invite us, Dr. Larson? So this is information in action, though I do want to let you guys know this was a very last minute, very great opportunity for our students to attend. So this is information in action. Gentlemen?
Alright, so my name is Victor Jordan, and I am a camera operator and video editor for Barbcast, which is a high school club. And I joined my freshman year when it just started off, and I've seen it grow so much. Seeing a lot of people join, it's a very, very great club where a lot of people like learn about camera and stuff like that. And so we just cover like a whole bunch of like school activities, make video content off of it.
Hello, I'm Elvis Moore, and we are here because we have been asked to make a video for the Illinois Wrestling State Finals, and we want to request an overnight field trip to be able to take them up on the opportunity to gain more experience in this field that we are very passionate about. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. Was Barbcast responsible for making the video at the beginning of the basketball game Friday night?
Yes.
It was awesome.
That is some of their work, and you guys will email the board some of your work?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We would love to see it.
Right.
This isn't a question, it's more of a statement. Like a week and a half ago, the wrestling meet that was going on, we were sick in bed, and we got to watch it, and we got to watch my grandson wrestle, so thank you guys. It makes it much better, and you guys do a great job of like getting the right angle to watch the wrestlers. Wrestling is not the easiest thing to videotape.
Yeah.
So I applaud the opportunity for you guys to go. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And this one is information in action, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, roll call.
Boyce.
Yes.
Mark Sherbet.
Yes.
Van Bynum. Yes. Kristen Bailey. Yes. Nick Atwood.
Yes.
Jose Jaquez.
Yes.
All right, and again, you guys are not required to stay, you can feel free to leave.
They have homework.
Exactly. Item D, bid results for summer projects, presented to us by Director of Facilities, Tammy Carson.
Thank you. It is that time of year where we have been collecting bid results for our summer 2026 projects. There's a lot of information in the packet. I'll go over it briefly and then go over some of the numbers. It is informational, and then it'll be coming back to the next meeting for approval. So the first project we're looking at is seal coating and striping. We have a 3-year rotation on that. And the buildings that are looked to get done this year are Brooks, Cortland, Jefferson, Littlejohn, and Founders. Wrapped into that same bid are the site improvements for this year. That's concrete and asphalt improvements. Tyler parking lot is the largest one that we're looking at this year, and then just some smaller ones at Littlejohn, Lincoln, Jefferson, Huntley, Founders, Cortland, and Rosette. To go over those bid results, the site improvements, which include the Tyler parking lot, Brooks, Jefferson, and Littlejohn, they were the base bid, and then our alternate bids were for some other separation of buildings. I do want to explain that there's an alternate bid on that for the Littlejohn pathway, the sidewalk from the school to Oak Drive, which is a neighborhood. It was separated out into an alternate bid only because we were not sure we were going to have approval from the city with that because there were some ADA questions in regards to the current design and the needed design. We have obtained that, so there was no concerns brought forth from the city, so we can wrap that into our bid approval. The other base bid in this was a seal coating and striping at those buildings I've already listed. The total amount for all of those projects, including the architect engineering and 10% contingency, is still under our budgeted amount by $135,000. So based on our projected budget and the actual results for all of that, we are still coming in under budget by $135,000. The next one, and those are to two separate companies, Elliott & Wood and DeKalb, and then Denler Inc. Denler does our seal coating, or it would be doing the seal coating part of it. The next bid is our floor replacement. We are looking at rotating now throughout our district, getting flooring replacement done. The first one we're looking at is our Huntley building. It is mostly original flooring across, which requires waxing and burnishing and buffing and a lot of work, and it's starting to crumble in many of the spaces because of its age. We are recommending moving forward with the bid results for base bid 1 and base bid 2. Base bid 1 and alternate 1. That is for the corridors on the main floor, first floor, and the corridors on the second floor. The first floor would be done in summer of '26. The second floor would be done in summer of '27, but the request is to approve both at the same time so that we can guarantee we can have the same product from one year to the next year. Because if you don't commit to now, no idea if it's even gonna be available next year, and then our corridors won't match. The other alternate in here is for the band room. And the band room is broken out because one of the ideas that has been put forth that is still just up for consideration involves some renovations that could be done in the band room in the Vision 428. So at this point, we are not recommending doing that. I want to make sure I'm stating this right. Correct. Not recommending moving forward with that at this time. We can, if we do decide to move forward with some of the ideas we have in the Vision 428 that impact the band room, and it means that we won't be touching it, then we can accept this bid at a later date, but at this time, we're recommending not approving the band room. That bid is currently, the total amount, which also there is asbestos abatement that has to be done in this project because the floors have asbestos. So between the construction bid for base bid 1 and 2 and would go to Carpetland USA, and then the asbestos abatement, the Carpetland bid is coming in $135,000 under our budget. That is if we do the band room. So I'm just gonna say if, just because if we don't, it's just even more savings, obviously, at this time. And the asbestos bid is coming in actually $439,000 under budget. So my contractor felt that we were gonna have much higher bids, and they did not come in higher. We had, I believe it was 10 or 11 bidders. So fortunately, we had quite a range of bids, but we are coming in significantly under budget on that. So that really is helping our numbers for the next 2 summers. Renovations, there were 5 bids submitted for renovations. They include a base bid of some of the toilet rooms, the larger toilet rooms at Founders. Some smaller toilet rooms at Founders are the alternate, a copy room renovation at the high school, and a sole room renovation at Huntley Middle School. That says the high school, it should be Huntley Middle School. Recommending moving forward with the large bathrooms at Founders, the copy room at the high school, and not moving forward with the smaller toilet rooms at Founders at this time, and also not the sole room at Huntley. We're holding off for the same reasons at the band room at Huntley, because some of the ideas that are kind of being thrown around do impact the sole room at Huntley. If we do move forward with some ideas on Vision 428, we can always come back if we need to, but we are recommending not moving forward with that at this time. With those projects, including all of the bids, it is still $237,000 under budget. So again, another under budget number. And last, and all of those projects that I've gone over are all out of operations and maintenance. So that is a budget that is included in what remains of the 25-26 budget for operations and maintenance, and will be included and planned for in the 26-27 budget. Still being under what we typically do in projects. We usually average about $3 million in operations and maintenance budgets or projects each summer. We're looking at being closer to the 2 million mark, 2.1 million with these projects we're recommending. So we are gonna be actually coming a little lower than anticipated, partly because the bids came in lower than our projections.
So when you were talking about the large toilet rooms and the small toilet, you're talking about the larger group?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, groupings.
I guess the only one that I really have a question on is obviously if you can support local over an out of town group you want to. Do we know why DeKalb Mechanical is such an astronomically higher number than B-Liner for the
Yes.
boiler?
Yes, actually, DeKalb Mechanical is still, I haven't gotten to that one, it still is under budget, what our budget number was, and is actually closer to what we projected. B-Liner withdrew their bid after the bids were open, because when they went back to review their numbers, they have so many, like, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 days to review and withdraw their bid. Their bid wouldn't have even covered the cost of the equipment. So obviously somebody's math didn't math, so that was why it withdrew. So the recommendation, which I go over right now, the Huntley boiler project does require a boiler replacement as well, because those are the original Kiwani boilers from when the building opened. Asbestos abatement is involved. I don't have those bid results yet, but we're anticipating, based on results we've seen, that those will be less than our budgeted amount, but we budgeted at $150,000 just in case. And that will come out of life safety, and again, we have that funding available between the current balance in life safety and then what is allocated in November into life safety budget. So we were able to move forward, and that is our last major HVAC project that needs to be done in the district because of all that we've been able to complete. So, and it will give us some tremendous energy savings as well as some rebates that are available. So with that project, even with the asbestos abatement, if it came in at the budgeted $150,000, it's still coming in about $220,000 under budget. So based on all of this, we are looking at about a 2.1 for operations and maintenance, a 1.7 million for life safety, and I'll open up to any questions at this point.
All right, I'm not hearing any questions. Do we have consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Item E, 2026 Reading and Rigor Conference.
Hi, I'm Betsy Zimmerman. I'm the Secondary Humanities Manager.
And I am Jill Springer. I am the Elementary Humanities Manager.
And we are asking to take 2 teachers and ourselves to San Diego for the Reading and Rigor Conference. When we think of conferences, usually we think they're really large things where people go to like 40, 50-minute sessions, right? And you learn and then you leave and you get another thing. This is really more of a workshop intensive with Doug Fisher and Nancy Fry, who are 2 practitioner researchers. And they had created the rigor framework for teaching, and we went to that conference last year and learned about that framework, then brought it back and worked with principals and other instructional leaders to help that really form the basis of our instructional walks and sort of our formative learning from teachers during the school year, and that has been incredibly successful. We've been able to provide really good PD to the principals as well as good feedback to the teachers. So we've been very happy with our knowledge of the rigor framework. This year, they are adding reading, which is actually Doug Fisher and Nancy Fry's background. It's what they started researching in. They're adding that to the rigor framework. So instead of just looking at teaching and instruction on this broad lens, we're looking at it specifically within the context of literacy instruction. So this week-long intensive will provide rigor certification for the 2 teachers. There will be our first 2 teachers to get rigor certification, which is fantastic, 1 elementary, 1 middle school teacher. And then it also will provide a really in-depth look at best practices in literacy and then combining those 2. So all 3 of those things will happen during this week.
Yes, we're very excited to be able to offer teachers the opportunity to go. We're always looking to collaborate more deeply with those educators who are in the trenches currently. And so to be able to be side by side with them, we feel would be very beneficial, as well as we're always looking to grow our teacher leaders, and this would be another way for us to disseminate the information that we learn to the masses.
I don't have it typed out in front of me, but I know it's in your board docs. The whole cost of the trip comes in just under $9,000 for the week. And it comes from grant funding Title II for the administrators and then teacher vacancy grant for the teachers. Any questions?
And I assume we wouldn't need substitutes since it's in June, right?
It's in June, no
Right.
substitutes.
That's good.
Yep.
All right.
Any
Do we
other
have
questions?
consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item F, this is info and action, 2026 Black Literacy Matters Conference, presented to us by Director Parker and
Great.
friends.
And friends, yeah. I'll get us started with the introduction, and then these beautiful young ladies will take over. So good evening, we're here to request board approval for an out-of-state professional development opportunity. We would like to attend the Black Literacy Matters Conference, which will take place March 11th through the 14th in Norfolk, Virginia. That is why we are coming information action, because we just found out that we were invited to present at this conference, and then when we researched the conference and found out that it is a conference that, like what Dr. Zimmerman said here, it is a conference that is a workshop. It is not going to a whole bunch of different things. We actually get to sit with Zaretta Hammond. If you don't know who she is, look her up. We get to sit in a 2.5-hour block and have conversations and learn directly from some of the best researchers in the field of literacy, specifically responsive literacy, meaning that you help the students that you have in front of you and not just like textbook approach to literacy. And here are some beautiful people that will introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kwate Calvin. I'm a reading specialist at Mitchell.
It's their first time presenting.
That's the first time for the board, so bear with me. And I'm a little cold. Cold in here. As the board sees in the report, data shows that our Black students are the furthest behind in literacy. These disparities are not just numbers. They represent real students who are not yet receiving the equitable access to high-quality literacy instruction that they deserve. Addressing these gaps is urgent, and this professional development provides tools and research-based strategies that directly target these inequities.
Thank you, Dr. Calvin. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cherish Olaiwala. I am a special education teacher at Mitchell Elementary School. So the attendees of this conference is Dr. Parker and then the rest of us who are working directly with students, and we can see firsthand just the disparities that they have. So we're passionate about changing this reality. The knowledge we gain will be immediately applied as early as summer PDs, so train to trainer model, and ensuring that these strategies impact a greater number of students as quickly as possible. And this will be curated through professional developments from ourselves.
Thank you, Cherish. I am Lacey Collingborn. I'm 7th grade ELA at Clinton Rosette. Alignment to our core values of the district is that this opportunity will allow us to receive evidence-based strategies to reduce opportunity gaps within our district and improve student outcomes. And the priorities, as far as the strategic priorities, it allows for equitable access, ensures all students have access to high-quality literacy learning, all students. Maximizes grant opportunities, strengthens our capacity to pursue literacy-focused grants and expand that programming. And then it helps with development and retention. It demonstrates investment in educators' growth, and it contributes then to retention and development as a whole.
As far as the cost, I think I laid out probably a mini dissertation about why this is important. It's linked into your board docs. The cost will be under $7,000. We have even met and decided to share a house to saving about $2,600 in hotel fees. And because there's a spike, because this is a huge conference, there's a spike, like people are gouging right now for hotels in that area for that time period. So we were able to earmark places a little cheaper. And we'll share bathrooms and we'll be amazingly fine. And then that is coming out of a grant. And as far as subs, I got you, JJ. We would have one person that would need a sub, and her principal is aware and would be working on it already. The other two, they don't get sub coverage.
So the question has nothing to do with subs.
Okay. I just thought let me go on.
When you return, because this is very interesting to me.
Yes.
And so I'd like to, I'm telling you now, I'd like to set up a time for you to tell me what you learned in there and how you're gonna implement it.
100%.
All right.
And I'm sure we're gonna have plenty of things to share.
I just wanted to say, as somebody who's read Zaretta Hammond's work, she's phenomenal. And the fact that you guys, I am so jealous and I want to go. It's awesome that you guys got invited to go to this.
So in closing, approving this conference is an investment in our students, our educators, and our commitment to finally getting literacy right for Black students. We are eager to attend, learn, and bring this knowledge back to the district.
And as you can imagine, it's information action because the registration closes, and then also we don't want to pay like $900 for a flight.
All right then. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, roll call.
Mark Sherrod,
Yes.
Dante Bynum,
Yes.
Kristen Bailey. Yes. Nick Atwood,
Yes.
Jose Jaquez.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last item. Item G, also information and action, amended MOU Barb City STEAM presented to us by Sarah Montgomery.
Thank you so much, Ben. So I come to you with exciting news that our Barb City STEAM team, which is I'm sure you're familiar with, we've had a year's agreement with NIU that's renewed annually for our middle school students to do this after-school opportunity. And we've been working on it for about the last year-ish to expand to the high school. So here we are, finally ready to unveil it, and that's why it's information action, so we can get the ground running and send our students from the high school over there as well. It's an exciting opportunity. The MOU, the agreement that's before you, is all of the same verbiage of the ones that you've seen in the past, with the addition of the specific high school grades, which you know is 9 through 12, the specific dates in there, and the start and end time. Everything else in there is identical to the previous MOU that you've already seen for the middle school.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Hearing no questions, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Jackie, roll call.
Dante Bynum. Kristen Bailey. Yes. Nick Atwood,
Yes.
Jose Jaquez.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Mark Sherrod.
Yes.
All right then, that brings us to the end of our normal stuff. Dr. Garcia Sanchez, do you have anything for us?
Oh, just a couple of things before I bid everybody good night. First and foremost, I wanted to bring up Shannon, our principal over at ELDC. Her staff has asked her for more information regarding what's going on with the ELDC. So she is going to be submitting to them on a bi-weekly basis, information around the ELDC, where it's at, the status and information. So thank you so much for being transparent with your staff and making sure that they understand what it is that we are looking at. So in the same vein, ELDC updates will begin in our board meeting, beginning at the next meeting. So Kyle and team will be doing that. They had a meeting today, I believe, and in this meeting today, I believe we were able to talk about some subcommittees. So subcommittees have been determined, and I can't wait to hear what those subcommittees are, but I'm looking out there to the world outside of this room. If you are interested in being a part of this or any of the subcommittees, why don't you go ahead and reach out to Kyle Gertis, and here at kyle.gertis@d428.org, so that he can get you on the list to be on one of the subcommittees. I think it's important as we begin to build this out, what it's going to look like. To me, it's going to be like the Disney World of early childhood, as I see it. Anyway, please come out and help out, and I thank everybody here as they continue to give information and support and getting our little itty bitty Barbs the best academy that they will be able to have. Let's see. So last Friday, as Chris mentioned, we had the FNBO challenge, and our ladies fell to Sycamore, but our young men beat them for the 5th year in a row. We're very excited about that. Young ladies, you keep going. You know, our resilience and grit is out there. You just need to keep working at it. I believe in you, and I know next year it'll be a total different story. Then I also want to just mention the young men's wrestling. They've advanced 9 wrestlers to the Barrington sectional in 2 weeks, and our ladies also will be competing this weekend in Belvedere. So, you know, where we can, we're doing great things. Wrestling is another, even though I don't like to talk about it, y'all know about last year, so we won't go into that. But definitely wrestling is on the top of the chain here for what children like to do and are good at. You know, some of our principals have their children also involved in that. Great wrestlers here in DeKalb. So I wish everybody good luck. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our president.
All right. At this point, we've got to the end of the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I don't roll call, or do I just, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Have a great night, everyone.